Hey up everyone, in today's video we're going to be talking about Ilia Topuria and prime Conor McGregor, 145 Conor McGregor, the featherweight version of Conor McGregor. Now the first thing we're going to talk about is who's had a better time in the featherweight division between Ilia Topuria and Conor McGregor. The other thing we're going to discuss, who would win, Ilia Topuria, obviously current version of Ilia Topuria, or a prime Conor McGregor. Now, if we're going to debate about who had the better featherweight run, we've got to start off by looking at Conor McGregor's record, resume, whatever you want to call it. He started off against Marcus Brimage back in 2013. As you can see, this was his UFC debut, and he got off to an excellent start with a knockout in the first round. After this fight, he took on who everyone knows, Max Holloway, and he took him to a decision. Now, I believe that Conor McGregor picked up an injury in this one. Was it his ACL? I can't remember. He tore some sort of muscle, but he was still able to get the decision victory. But remember, this wasn't like a prime Max Holloway, Holloway at his peak. This was when Max Holloway was like 21 years old, and I think he already suffered a few losses before this. So, this wasn't like a prime Max Holloway, not a current Max Holloway that we do have, but still, a win that's aged very well for Conor McGregor. After this, we have Diego Brandao. Okay fighter. I think he had wins over Daniel Pineda and Dennis what's his fucking name? Dennis Bermudez, who was quite decent. I think he actually has a win over Max Holloway as well, so he was quite decent. But Brandao was just really a stepping stone. I believe this fight took place in Ireland as well, which was a big moment for McGregor, but he got the job done in the first round. And then we have another good, well-aged one, which was Dustin Poirier. Now, this wasn't prime Poirier, but Poirier was still quite decent back in the featherweight days in 2014. This was a big fight. Still a decent name to have on your resume. Obviously he lost the other two fights to him, but I'd still say Dustin Poirier at this point in the career is quite a decent name to have. It's not like he was way too young or inexperienced. This was a very solid version of Dustin Poirier. Was it his prime? No, I think that's quite fair to say, but still a decent name to have on your resume. Very solid win, got Dustin Poirier out of there in the first round. After this we had Dennis Siver, who is quite old really. I think everyone knew that McGregor was going to win this. I feel like everyone forgets this fight actually when it comes to McGregor's resume. Dennis Siver, when McGregor went to touch gloves, Dennis Siver just didn't do anything, and then McGregor stuck his fingers up at him. But yeah, got the knockout in the second round. Was quite a comfortable victory for McGregor. I always remember this fight because McGregor straight away after he got the victory went and screamed in Jose Aldo's face in the crowd. Then this is where we get the big one, Chad Mendes. Now, for those who don't know, this was on short notice for Chad Mendes, as it was for McGregor. He was meant to fight Aldo. Aldo pulled out with whatever injury it was, I believe like a rib injury or something. So Chad Mendes stepped in, and he, it was a bit tricky for him. Mendes was probably the worst stylistic matchup for McGregor in the featherweight division. Maybe Frankie Edgar was, but regardless, a grappler who was an offensive wrestler. It was quite a bad style for him, but he was able, because he took it on short notice, he did gas out. I always wish we got to see this fight if Chad Mendes didn't have, take it on short notice. He took it on like a week or two. I always wish we got like a full camp Chad Mendes, because maybe the outcome of this fight would have been different, but who knows, because Chad Mendes never had the greatest of cardio, let's be honest. But yeah, this was like what put him really on the map. It was a big one. It was a great card as well. I had Robbie Lawler and Rory McDonald 2 as the co-mainers, I believe. So very big fight this was, and he passed it with flying colours. Had a bit of adversity at the start again in the grappling, but he was able to tire out Chad Mendes and get the finish. It was a great little performance and a great name to have on the resume. Chad Mendes is very underrated. Chad Mendes is great to have on your resume. And then obviously, probably the best win in MMA history, in my opinion. I genuinely think it is. I'm not even like a big McGregor glazer, but 13-second knockout over someone who was undefeated for 10 years. One of the greatest to ever do it, who's still doing it at a top level. Fuck you, Mario Batista. Still doing it at a high level. I think this is the greatest win in MMA history, so it's a tough one for Ilia Topuria, but yeah, a great win for Conor McGregor. I always wish we got to see the rematch, but we never got to. We then go over to Ilia Topuria. Now, we start this off with Youssef Zalal. Now, I'm not going to lie, I didn't really see this fight. I can't remember, or if I did, I don't remember seeing it, but he got a unanimous decision victory. Decent for a UFC debut. But then we get to Damon Jackson. Nothing too great, lingers about in the featherweight division. absolutely butchered him, like just like he owed him money. This was a pure beatdown. He beat this guy down like he was a bully, like he went and trained MMA, and then he finally stepped up to his bully and he beat the fuck out of Damon. Poor Damon Jackson. He ripped into the body and then knocked him out cold quite easily in the first round. We then had the one against Ryan Hall, and I was quite happy when he beat Ryan Hall. And this is when I started to really know Ilia Topuria, because I remember people saying going into this fight, oh, be careful of Ilia Topuria, because he had Ryan Hall had like a weird cult of fans. Like a lot of people really did believe in his hype after the Ultimate Fighter, and yeah, he was undefeated. Maybe he was undefeated. I can't remember what the crack was with Ryan Hall. He's kind of vanished now. I don't know if he's retired or what. But yeah, he had like a weird cult of fans, and yeah, Ilia Topuria just like fucked him up. I believe that Ryan Hall broke his hand quite early on in the fight, and then just started spamming like rolls to go like Ilimari rolls, whatever they're called, and Topuria was having none of it, and then he pounced on him and knocked his lights out quite brutally. You then have the one, this is not included, but let's go over it anyway. Jai Herbert at 155, but we're not going to include this. But obviously he has that win against Jai Herbert. What looked like he actually killed Jai Herbert. It was brutal. We're going to have Bryce Mitchell, a great win. I don't want to class Ryan Hall as a great win, because he just had that weird cult. I feel like most MMA fans knew he wasn't ever going to reach the big leagues. But yeah, just that had a weird cult. But Bryce Mitchell is a decent win. Going into this fight, Bryce Mitchell was undefeated. Obviously had some decent wins over the likes of Edson Barboza, and I can't really remember who else he beat. But he had some decent wins, undefeated, grapple heavy, had decent cardio, had a bit of hype behind him. And I remember a lot of people thinking this was going to be 50-50. I backed Topuria because I just thought he had better striking, and I wasn't really too aware of Topuria's grappling. But on the feet, he just set the pace for this fight, and I don't think Bryce Mitchell could follow that pace, because Mitchell ended up gassing out badly in the second round, and man, Topuria absolutely ragdolled Bryce Mitchell in the second round and got the submission victory against a grappler, which really demonstrated how good his grappling actually is. We then have Josh Emmett. Oh, this was a masterclass, really. He won every single round. I believe he got a 10-7 round as well, which is super rare in MMA. He just absolutely butchered Josh Emmett. I don't know how Josh Emmett managed to go 5 rounds against Ilia. I do feel like maybe Ilia wanted to test his cardio and his pacing, and maybe wanted to see how he would get on during 5 rounds in a fight against a heavy hitter like Josh Emmett, who's also a veteran. Decent name to have on the resume. Very solid. Then we have Volkanovski. Now, there's an asterisk with this one, and I don't like this asterisk, because I feel like if the asterisk was removed anyway, it still wouldn't have changed the outcome. But the asterisk is, he obviously got knocked out a few months prior by Islam Makhachev in the first round. And yeah, that was the narrative going into this one, and after he knocked him out as well. This wouldn't have happened if Islam didn't knock him out. I believe it would have. I believe Ilia Topuria is that good, and obviously now after the Max Holloway UFC 308 performance, I think it's quite fair to say, yeah, he still would have happened regardless if Islam Makhachev had knocked him out, Volkanovski a few months prior. I think Topuria still would have found that chin, so that was a great win. Volkanovski, one of the greatest featherweights of all time. Some people think he is the greatest featherweight of all time, which is fair. And yeah, Ilia Topuria, the first one to beat him in the featherweight division. Max Holloway couldn't do it 3 times. Ilia Topuria took him, 2 rounds? Ripped to the body, ripped to the head. It got some nice jabs off throughout the 2 rounds, got some nice leg kicks off throughout the 2 rounds. Did a great job against Volkanovski. And then the most recent win, and obviously McGregor has Max Holloway on his resume as well, but it's not quite the same, because again, Max Holloway wasn't in his prime. Whereas now, is he in his prime? Maybe he's not in his prime, but he's certainly not out of his prime. He's still fighting, just a few months prior, he was on top of the world, got one of the greatest knockouts of all time at the biggest UFC event of all time, so he's definitely not past his prime. Yeah, he's maybe like a second prime. Like, you see some fighters hit like second primes. Holloway's one of them. Like, he's been in his prime for a long time, man. And he just became the first person to finish Max Holloway on the feet. I know he's been subbed before, but he was the first person to knockout / TKO Max Holloway in brutal fashion. He demonstrated a great jab. He was oozing with confidence, came to the center of the octagon, pointed to the ground, this was a really, really good win for Ilia Topuria and looks fantastic on his resume. So now that we've looked through both of their resumes, Who had the better run at featherweight? This is quite a hard one in my opinion. I feel like most people would just say McGregor. And I do understand that. I just feel like that win over Aldo might just top all of it. But back-to-back knockout wins against two of the featherweight great goats, you know what I mean? Holloway's a featherweight goat, Volkanovski's a featherweight goat. Like, these two are great. They weren't way past the prime, maybe, but no, they weren't way past the prime. I mean, Volkanovski's last outing at 145 before the Ilia fight was against Yair Rodriguez, and he looks absolutely phenomenal against Yair Rodriguez, put it all together so well, was able to get the finish. I don't know what, man, I'll probably say Conor McGregor, but I feel like there's valid arguments for both. You know, I feel like Dustin Poirier is a great win. Chad Mendes is a bit of an asterisk because of its short notice. You know, Bryce Mitchell's an okay win. Like, it was a good win at the time, but, you know, he also got slept by Josh Emmett within, like, fucking, what, a minute or whatever it was. Josh Emmett's lost a few. I think McGregor gets it simply for that win over Aldo, but it's a hard one because, like I say, just back-to-back knockouts over Holloway and Volkanovski is crazy, man. Being the first person to defeat Volkanovski at featherweight and being the first person to ever finish Max Holloway like TKO knockout is crazy. I don't know who to go with. I'm probably going to go with... Fuck, this is hard, guys. You could spin it however you wanted. I'm going to say... Fuck, I'm going to say McGregor, because he's still got the name value of Holloway and he wasn't his prime. I'm going to go with McGregor for this one, who has the better featherweight run. And now we get to the question, who would have won, a current Ilia Topuria or a prime Conor McGregor at 145? This is hard. You've got to break it down a bit. Obviously, Ilia Topuria, I think it's very fair to say, is a lot more well-rounded than McGregor. Obviously has the grappling side, which is quite scary to think about because other than the Bryce Mitchell fight, we haven't really seen Ilia Topuria use his grappling. I know he took Max Holloway down in the first round, but that was only for like, what, 30, 40 seconds, nothing too... He didn't really get much off. So yeah, that's quite a scary thought. I believe he actually has more submission wins than he has knockouts. Before he joined the UFC, he had 1 knockout, and now he has like 6 knockouts on his record, which is crazy. But yeah, man... He has the power, he's more well-rounded, he's got good pacing and cardio. Has he got a chin? I would say so because of a Jai Herbert fight. He's got good head movement. And then McGregor just had that stupid power, stupid precision. He was very versatile when it came to his attacks, you know. You never knew what you're getting with McGregor. He would like to be on the front foot as well. And we haven't really seen Ilia Topuria on the back foot, I would say. So that'll be very interesting to see who takes the centre of the octagon, because McGregor used to do a very good job of taking the centre of the octagon and maintaining that front forward pressure, but so does Ilia Topuria. Oh man, it'll be a hard one because if McGregor found that chin, yeah, I don't think it's fair to say that he wouldn't have knocked out Ilia Topuria. But if it were me, if we had to put money on it, I'd say that Ilia Topuria would have beat a prime Conor McGregor. I know a lot of people think that McGregor would have won. Again, it's valid. Yeah, that's why I like this conversation, because you can make multiple arguments for both sides. It's a very compelling side, and let's be honest, we're never going to fucking find out because McGregor's 36 and always on the sniff, and you know, whatever's going on, like to put, it just never will happen because it's a fantasy matchmaking, like, shut up. But yeah, I think Ilia Topuria would have won. Again, he's just too well-rounded. I think he would have been quite smart. I know he used his confidence and he did the whole thing pointing to the ground against Max Holloway. I don't know if he would have let something like that happen against McGregor. I don't know. I think it would have been Ilia Topuria though. I've just got to go with the guy who's more well-rounded. And you know, I feel like Conor obviously has cardio issues. We saw it with Nate. We've seen it a few times as well. If he wouldn't be able to get Ilia Topuria out of there early, he would have started to fade, in my opinion. And we saw that Chad Mendes had a lot of success with his grappling. I feel like Ilia could have success with his grappling. I think it's safe to say that Ilia Topuria would have beat a prime Conor McGregor. But those are my thoughts on a prime Conor McGregor and Ilia Topuria, who I thought had the better featherweight run and who I thought would win in their primes, well, current Ilia Topuria, whatever, at 145. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. How much would you look forward to a fight between Ilia Topuria and Conor McGregor? I know I'm on about prime McGregor and all this, but I still think, even if they came back now and they announced Ilia Topuria versus Conor McGregor, let's be honest, every single MMA fan would be so hyped for that fight. The back and forth would be absolutely incredible, and the fight itself would be absolute fireworks. But what did you guys think about that fight? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.